Hi everybody, Matt Lawton here. This is the Astrological Winds channel. Going to take a look at the astrological weather forecast for the final week of October 26th to November 1st. One of the most intense months, one of the most intense years astrologically lately. And last week, right in the middle of the Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde period, lighting up the Capricorn planets, Eris, all that really deep Scorpio energy, a lot of intense things happening to a lot of people in our personal lives, in relationships, and things like that. Venus was very active last week. So definitely, if your life right now seems to be in like dire straits, or in the winds of change, or in like big transformation, letting things go, other things coming in, changes like that, that's what should really be happening. And I know it's not easy for anyone. The difficult times that we're having socially have bled down to the individual level and is affecting a lot of us in our personal lives, and that mainly through relationships. And you remember when we get to the side of the zodiac where Libra begins, and we're into Scorpio, Libra kind of energy, that's where like the other and relationships is where we're learning about ourselves. So like all this stuff that may be happening to you in all your different relationships that is just like can be upsetting and forcing you to accept changes and things like that are really meant to be. And by doing that, we're clearing energy so that new energy can come in. So here we are, still in the middle or near the end of this very intense month, and it will continue into November. As I've said multiple times in the last few months, the Mars retrograde period and going back will really last through this whole fall period. And so November is going to be a continuation of like a lot of the intense energy we've been experiencing all year, and is really peaking in this last quarter of the year. So some interesting things. There's really two big things I want to talk about this week, and they're related with one another, and we're in the middle of all this stuff, and we can see how it's like progressing and evolutionizing now and transforming things. So the two big things I want to talk about is, the first thing is on Tuesday. We have Mercury still going backwards because it's retrograde, and Venus is moving forwards, and they both go into Libra on the same day. Very interesting synchronicity there. What's interesting about that is that I think, as far as the deep, really intense Scorpio stuff that Mercury retrograde's been dealing with in the last week or so, it's kind of like exposed a lot of like intense stuff within ourselves and what we see in others and in the world and stuff. And I think now like that's been exposed, right? So now it's out in the open. And with Mercury retrograde going back into Libra, it's like, okay, now decisions have to be made again. Libra has a lot to do with making decisions. And when Mercury goes back into it, Mercury is trying to make like the most balanced decisions at that point. But it has like the truth in front of it now, or things that have been revealed to it in the last week or two through the Scorpio energy, in order to make decisions on, but yet it's still retrograde. So I think there'll still be a lot of indecisiveness as to what to do with what we're seeing now, or what's been exposed to us. And, you know, Mercury, when it's in Libra, wants to be methodical as it is when it is making a decision. So I think, you know, that will be why the Mercury retrograde energy continues, is that, like, it'll be like indecisiveness, which will lead to, like, you know, the usual Mercury retrograde stuff of misunderstandings, maybe communication being off, things like that. So, you know, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it is moving energy, because in order to move forward, we had to see what we saw in that Scorpio energy. And, you know, now we have to decide what to do with it. And it has a lot to do with relationships and what we're seeing in others and what we're seeing of ourselves reflected in others. So very interesting. And then, like, with Venus going into Libra, that's really helpful, because Venus in Libra is one of the two signs that Venus rules. So it's like very strong in Libra. So now the dispositor or ruler of Mercury in Libra is that Venus in Libra too. So that can smooth a lot of the edges. Venus in Libra wants, like, balance, wants harmony, wants equality in relationships. That's what the goddess of love turns her on in Libra, you know. But she also likes fine things and the finer parts of life. But, like, here's the thing with Libra too, though. When things bust out into the open with Libra, despite, you know, being one of the most peace desiring signs in the zodiac, once it has everything clear in front of it, it will be making the decision what to do. And Libra will go to war also in an open way against those who are opposing what it sees as its way to peace and harmony and justice and those kinds of things. So it's kind of interesting, you know. But, like, you know, Venus in Libra definitely should open up some of the communications and relationship and try to find balance. It may not be like a bed of roses or something, but, like, everything's out there. So now, you know, we can make those decisions. So, like, definitely more receptive and open, and then also helping lead that Mercury retrograde, you know, into so really what I think here going on here this week is we'll be looking at a lot of the stuff we were exposed to, especially through other people and relationships, and, you know, making decisions based on that from there. Now, the other really, really big thing this week, and it's bigger than that, is on Friday we get the full moon in Taurus at 9 degrees, and this is the second full moon of October, so it's a blue moon. So as if the whole month isn't crazy enough, we get to deal with also a blue moon or a second full moon. And you know how full moons have people acting out kind of on the edge, erratically, kind of in a public way too, so that it's seen what's going on. So it's really interesting, because we had that intense new moon a week or so ago with the Mars-Pluto stuff going on, and now we're going to get a really intense full moon. Really intense. So we have the full moon at 9 degrees Taurus, so it's opposite the Scorpio sun. And guess who's involved? Uranus. Uranus is conjunct the full moon exact to the degree, and therefore opposite that Scorpio sun too. So let's just think about Taurus and Scorpio first. The thing they have in common is that they're both fixed signs. They both like to know what's going on and have like a routine or pattern, and they resist change. Uranus is all about sudden change. So this is what we're feeling going on already all around us. Sudden change happening. Events, relationships, other people, experiences that we cannot control and are being forced on us to make sudden change and therefore sudden decisions. Now, when you think about the moon in Taurus first, the moon is really strong in Taurus. In fact, it's one of its favorite signs for the goddess to be in. It's exalted in Taurus. And what the moon is all about, rhythms and cycles, right? And Taurus is all about rhythms and cycles, the rhythms and cycles of the earth. And so the Taurus wants to know that those rhythms and cycles are being adhered to. Taurus wants to know what the schedule is today and every day, what the routine is today and every day, and find security in that. Taurus finds a lot of security in earth things, in material things, in possessions, in assets, in the finer things in life. The other sign that Venus rules, just like Libra, Venus likes the fine things in life. So that's what makes Taurus secure, but what makes it insecure is change and emotional upheaval, where it's not able to get emotional satisfaction even if it has the material things it wants. Meanwhile, we got Sun in Scorpio, who opposes Taurus because it's getting its emotional satisfaction from much deeper stuff. But they do have that connection of like material and assets and money. With Scorpio, it involves other people. And so there's like the issues that come up with the other people. But Scorpio kind of thinks Taurus doesn't really get deep enough, especially on the emotional and psychological level. It gets too caught up in the material world and can lose its creative power by not facing the shadows that lurk in the subconscious, in the corners, in our psyche. So it's a real interesting play just going on there, but now you add Uranus into the equation. And Uranus is like, listen, things need to be shaken up, you know? So what may likely happen this week and during this full moon cycle, if it isn't already happening, is like sudden upsets or events or things that people do that force you into making a sudden change to adjust to, that you have to. It's not even an option. You have to do it. So it's like, and it can bring excitement for sure, because what happens is it kind of clears the air a bit, and then there's this stimulating, exciting energy. It's like it's almost like there was the elephant in the room kind of sitting there, and now it's blown open, and it pushes that out of the room. And then all of a sudden, like, okay, maybe standing on shaky ground a little bit, but real exciting things can come in, and creative energy, new opportunities, new insights, new experiences, new people, all these things are coming in. But they're challenging that Taurus moon, and that Scorpio sun to change. And so we're going to have to make some big decisions based on that. Now, it's really interesting, too, because Venus comes right back into this again. The ruler of the full moon is Venus, because it's in Taurus, the other sign that Venus rules. So once again, we're looking at Venus. What is she up to? She just went into Libra. Once again, this full moon is trying to, find some kind of balance in relationships. Try to clear the air. Try to know who your enemies are and who your allies are. So very interesting. And what condition is Venus in otherwise? Almost in an exact opposition to Chiron. Learning through relationships, getting hurt or wounded through relationships, and then getting the insight and learning of that experience into us so that we learn about ourselves through others. Now remember, I've been saying this all year. I'll remind you again. Chiron is in Aries now. It's going to be in Aries for years. Your healing is your own self-responsibility. No one else's. Other people can help. Other people have nuggets of wisdom and insight that will lock in to parts of you that are needing that insight. But it's only up to you to do